over the long term. Democracy is going to be a bumpy ride, and I think maybe it needs to develop mechanisms which are flexible, which can come in, which can come out, rather than thinking in terms of a crisis or a kind of one-off emergency solution that has to be dealt with. And that applies not only, as we've been talking about, to Central and Eastern Europe, but also even to what we have tended to call established democracies, which, as we can see, are often more turbulent and less established in Western Europe than we wanted to assume. The other thing I think the EU could do is, again, take a more long-term perspective and look at social change and value change, and also inequality, which we have also been talking about here, both economic and social, but also in terms of status and political power. So maybe a more long-term and social perspective across the whole of Europe. I think we should maybe get used to the idea that the political climate is changing, the democratic climate is changing, but I mean, democracy has been a bumpy ride. Democracies do enter crisis, they do backslide, they come back again. And just to come back to your first question, another lesson we could learn from Central and Eastern Europe is that there are sources of resilience, there are civil society groups and movements which come into existence.
The Zeitenwende could indeed be a turning moment, a momentum for change, a momentum for mobilization. The undermining of the rule of law and democratic standards within the EU for a long time went unpunished. I guess the governments of Poland and Hungary felt pretty free to continue with reforms binding judiciary to political will or other undemocratic developments. And the Zeitenwende could indeed be a wake-up call and a momentum of change to take a rule of law and democracy seriously and start executing or using actively the tools that the EU already has.